Chapter 7. The First Vision. The 7 deities of Centrarth referenced in our earliest records were, for a time, the dominant faith of the Mediterranean. The history of its evolution cannot be traced. Those who followed the faith, like Zacharias' family, believed that there was a god, and that one of the 7 dominant religions in Centrarth must be the correct faith. Rather than try to divine which one was the one true faith, they chose to address all of their celestial communications to all of the gods of the region, so that no one god would feel slighted or ignored. The closest equivalent in the modern world is omnism, the belief that some aspects of all faiths are correct, while not needing to ascribe to and follow the more onerous rules of obeisance for those selfsame faiths. Though it was not obvious to Zacharias and his followers who came to live on the island, through the lens of time and history, it is easy to see how this omnist faith in the 7 deities promoted the eventual belief in the deity of Estolia. Gideon Zakarian, Designates Journal.
Until those who are worthy walk upon her shores.
The voice superimposed over Estoliana's voice echoed like the sound one heard when listening to a seashell. Zacharias could feel the voice to the very depths of his marrow. He turned and saw a woman in a robe standing just above the high tide mark. Her hands were clasped, and she had flaxen hair and large, unfathomable grey eyes. She had the same petite build as Estoliana. "This is your island?"
"No, Zacharias, son of Ezekias and Amadora, this is your island. If you are willing to accept the charge, I shall lay at your feet."
"Who are you?" He felt a thrill of excitement at the thought of this land being his.
"I am deity. Those who live in this region believe the island is small and unimportant. This is my influence."
She moved closer. Her eyes locked with his and continued,
"Battles, wars, struggle and strife will periodically come to the islands in this region. A land must be blessed to avoid being torn asunder by those conflicts. This land, Zacharias, will be blessed, both for you and your children, and their children, until time itself ceases to be."
Zacharias was well-traveled and fascinated by stories of celestial favors granted to regular mortals. He did not recall ever seeing any proof of divine intervention in his travels. "Blessings are easy to give. Many of the people I've encountered in my travels faithfully follow the dictates of their deity, giving great devotion, but in the end, their god or gods do not provide the substance of the promised blessings."
"I am very simple. I shall give very few commandments, with tangible, specific blessings and promises. Behold the woman Estoliana."
She pointed to the woman he rescued. Zacharias looked at her. She was not taking an active part in the conversation. In fact, she had been speaking when her voice changed and became the deeply resonant voice of this woman who claimed to be deity. She stood silently, as if unaware of the conversation taking place. She wasn't quite immobile, but he sensed she was disconnected from time, or perhaps he was the one no longer connected to the regular passing of time. He noticed how beautiful she was. Her hair was almost dry, a rich honey gold, similar in color to her eyes. She was much shorter than he was, with broad hips and beautiful breasts that were the perfect size to balance out her looks. Her features were pleasant. She was a desirable woman.
"If this island was to become yours, what blessings would you wish?"
"Are you certain you wish to know? I have an active imagination and could easily wish for more than any deity might want to grant me." She laughed. Her laughter was, he thought, like the music of angels singing, or the sound of bells ringing.
"Zacharias, your imagination, your intellect, your personality and character, all these I knew before I chose you to be the founder of a nation, a dynasty, and a religion. Speak aloud your dreams. What do you want for your land, your kingdom? I promise to listen to your dreams, to grant everything you request that is within my power, if you are willing to do what I ask in return."
Her expression and body language communicated sincerity and a deep and abiding belief in what she was offering him. He would lose nothing by voicing his deepest desires and his fondest wishes. If she was insincere, he wasted only his breath in sharing his dreams. If she was sincere and capable of granting him his wishes, he would gain by sharing. There seemed no reason to remain silent. "To always be prosperous," he began, thinking of some of the people he saw in his travels. "And for my children and their children to have the same prosperity." He did not wish for any of his sons or daughters to be forced to seek their fortune far from family. When she urged him to continue, he did. "I would want my people to be protected from famine, disease, and disasters. I would need to know we were safe from the lawless and merciless pirates who roam these waters, and from those who might become envious of our prosperity. It matters to me that my children, and their children, and so on, would all know they have the same assurances. I would wish for a deity who can give simple, easily kept guidelines, and not require an obscene level of worship." He looked again at Estoliana and added, "My descendants will need to be able to find worthy mates, willing to perpetuate the faith I will establish."
"I like you, Zacharias."
She smiled, and he felt a rush of warmth and approval, which did more to convince him of her sincerity and power than anything else she did or said.
"I influenced you both to come here to this island. Name it Estolia, after her."
She moved closer to him, her grey eyes meeting his, her expression inscrutable.
"I shall give you promises the likes of which no other man has ever received from deity. Only you can decide if you are willing to believe in the promises I will give you. Only you know if you will be willing to do what I command to secure those blessings."
Deity moved even closer to where he stood. She lifted one hand and placed it over the abdomen of Estoliana, the other hand taking his.
"You turn 30 tomorrow, Zacharias. Tonight, after the sun fully sets, on the eve of the anniversary of your birth, you will exchange with Estoliana her most valuable possession for yours. What I command of you, I command of your descendants. Inasmuch as your posterity keeps your promise to me, I will keep mine, until time ceases to be."
What could I give Estoliana? I have nothing but the contents of these crates from the Ankamoon. He didn't even have his sword. Deity responded to his question, her voice settling into his marrow as before, chilling him with the impact of her words, the meaning behind them.
"You will give your soul into Estoliana's keeping, Zacharias. The substance of your soul will be the exchange you will make. That is what she will take from you when you take her purity on your 30th birthday. When she does, you will be pledged to her forever. If she were to reject and leave you, you would die."